theme regarding now the other three pillars of the Atlantic Maritime Strategy. So when you look at we look at the blue economy and also the management of the maritime space for developing the blue economy, there is a very, I would say, important element in that planning and also in the aspects of developing the blue economy, which are the transition areas. In this case, the coastal areas. And why this is so important? Because it is the area where, land ends, the Finisterre, like we say here in Portugal, and also the ocean starts. And also it is today in the historical cycle where we live in, not only, and this is an aspect that not only happens in Europe, but also it is a trend all over the planet where most of the human population resides. It's in the coastal areas. So what impact has this, and what are the risks of this trend? The first impact is that the stress in the coastal ecosystems is far greater than a few years ago, where there is, of course, a lot of human population concentration. Of course, there is an increase of the impact of in its environmental dimensions, and of course in some resources. And this goes from the impact from the having more agriculture activity near the coast that results in more nitrogen in the ocean, with the consequences that we know, but also the water management challenge is also far greater, because the coastal ecosystems are deeply affected by the inefficiency and mismanagement of the water residues that come from living from the cities in the coastal areas, which are more and more in greater quantities. So the first take that we have on this is that what we do on land is effectively the first action and determined action that we have to do to diminish the impact of our of the negative impact of the urban development in the ocean. So one aspect of the coastal resilience that we have to focus regarding innovation and technology is to further improve. There is a lot of course, important developments in this area, and in the city where I live in, Lisbon, is a true example of that. 30 years ago, when I came here to study from Madeira, the Tagus River was not an example of good environment policy. Today, 30 years on, we have the return of dolphins to the Tagus River in the Lisbon area, with of course with the continuing of the industry of cruise ships and other elements, but it's also possible to take a bath, a swim in the area of the river, which is what was impossible 30 years ago. Why this was possible? Because there was a very initial, and there is a lot to improve on that, investment and coordination between the various governments of the municipalities in the water treatment, in the water management, and also with the in the synchronization with the port of Lisbon to make and to recover the environment of the Tagus River. But this is just one example. What of other examples exist along, not only in Portugal, but along Europe, of this, very important steps for improving this dimension of the coastal resilience. But then there's another aspect, and it regards the future of our territories. It's what is going to be the impact of the sea rise level. That's the long-term challenge ahead. Is the most difficult one to cope, because when you have a short-term risk, it's much more easy for mobilizing the investors, mobilizing the policy decision makers towards an action. But mobilizing for a risk that you don't see and you don't perceive at your high site, it's challenging. So this is where digitalization, in my view, is very important. Because digitalization and having, for example, a digital twin of the coastal lines of Europe that is credible in forecasting what will be, and there is also important steps in that dimension, but we have, of course, to deepen that showcase that in modeling what are the real impacts of having a sea level rise and what we have to do and what we have to invest, that is crucial for changing the perception of the population and also to counterweight the disinformation that several political forces are putting online in order to not to invest in that future. Third aspect and final one. This is also a major business opportunity. And this is not, I will say, a statement that has no support on that. No, it has support. And even in the cycle that we are having now, and the geopolitical cycle, the market is responding very positively, especially in Europe. According to the latest data of the Azul Deal Room platform that is managed by ForumOceano under the Recovery and Resilience Plan of Portugal in the Next Generation EU funds, and that is articulated in the Azul project, which has as its strategic leader the Director General for Maritime Policy. The value chain of environmental and coastal protection, which is one of the 10 value chains that exists in that platform, this venture capital has increased about 30% its investment from regarding 2024, going also beyond 1 billion euros of investment in venture capital and equity. So as you can see, venture capital and equity deals with risk, and there is a market and a very important market for these technologies, because the challenges are not only European, are global, and not everybody is in line with a certain denial attitude, but also it is betting and it's developing, those technologies in the future. So this is why the Pillar 4 of the Atlantic Maritime Strategy that is coordinated by Ineshtek is a very important pillar for developing a competitive industrial tissue in Europe that tackles these issues, makes profit of it, and restores nature while also restoring our natural ecosystems, which are key for Europe's security, and especially food security, autonomy, and energy autonomy. A final word for the importance of ports also in this strategy, because ports are the mainly coastal infrastructure that can be adapted and also developed certain functions that will help to augment the coastal resilience of the territories, not only for exchanging, transporting goods or doing the logistics that we do today, but also to be at the forefront of the technology solutions that can augment our coastal resilience. Thank you for your attention, and my apologies if I took some more time than I should. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruben, Secretary General of ForumOceano. And now I'm pleased to give the floor to Mrs. Sandra Cruz, Deputy Director General of the Portuguese Directorate General for Maritime Policy, also National Coordinator of both EU Sea Basins and co-chair of the WestMED initiative. Mr. Director Cruz, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Laurel. Good morning to all dear partners of ForumOceano, dear Ruben, representatives of civil society and colleagues. We are very pleased to be here with you today, as we all have a common goal, a healthy and resilient ocean. I'm here today with my colleagues, Lydia, on my left side, and Felipe, on my right side. They are focal points for the WestMED initiative and Atlantic strategy. I will try to be brief in my introduction remarks. Allow me to point out just three important ideas. The first one, the ocean is part of Portugal's identity as an oceanic nation. And how? Well, the Portuguese maritime triangle, mainland, the Azores and Madeira archipelagos makes our exclusive economic zone the third largest in Europe and the number 20 largest in the world. We stand facing two sea basins, the Atlantic and the Mediterranean, and we connect three continents, Europe, Africa and the Americas. With that in mind, Portugal was a pioneer designing in the year of 2006, almost 20 years ago, our first national ocean strategy. Our current ocean strategy, covering the period until 2030, supported by our national identity, is set strategic goals for the decades, guaranteeing the continuity of major global trends, assures a greater alignment of policies, financial instruments, and economic developments between Portugal, the Economic Union, and the main international markets, sets the ground for a more close partnership with neighboring countries in several modalities of cooperation, namely bilateral, multilateral, and triangular. In this regard, Portugal is committed with the European Union integrated maritime policy and commends the European Ocean Pact as an instrument capable of providing a more coherent approach to maritime issues, increasing cross-cutting coordination between different policy areas and strengthening synergies between member states and sea basins. The second point, this webinar will be focused on the strategies for the Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean Sea, to which our Directorate General for Maritime Policy is deeply dedicated as National Coordinator. As you may know, the Atlantic Maritime Strategy supports an open and effective cooperation between four countries, France, Ireland, Spain and Portugal. Supported by a common vision, we work together towards a strong and sustainable economy within the North Atlantic Ocean area. Implemented in 2011, the strategy already counts with 2 action plans. The current Atlantic Action Plan 2.0 is aligned with the major commitments for sustainable development and aims to unlock the potential of blue economy in the Atlantic area, while preserving marine ecosystems and the adaptation and mitigation of the climate change effects. It is supported in 4 interconnected and trans-regional pillars addressing key challenges, namely ports as gateways and hubs for the blue economy, blue skills of the future and ocean literacy, marine renewable energy, and finally, Pillar 4, healthy ocean and resilient coasts. Since 2020, the Atlantic Action Plan 2.0 already supported and fostered more than 860 projects. Currently, Portugal coordinates Pillar 4, and Professor Eduardo Silva from INESCTEC was elected its coordinator with the support of the Strategies National Hub ForumOceano and the Directorate General for Maritime Policy. He is with us today, here at this webinar. Bom dia, Professor Eduardo. Our Pillar 4 National Coordinator will share with us today some insights into the Pillar 4 roadmap for this two-year period, focused on consolidated actions directed to coastal resilience and the fight against marine pollution. Let me just state our trust and support in the work being developed by Professor Eduardo. The last point concerning the WestMED initiative. We are proud to co-chair current year the WestMED Steering Committee with Tunisia. Our goal as co-presidents is to contribute to the effective implementation of the multi-ministerial declaration by fostering regional cooperation and collaboration. The multi-ministerial meeting took place in 2023 and marked a key milestone for the WestMED initiative. Let me talk about some numbers. In 6 years, 115 projects were supported by the WestMED assistance mechanism. 45 WestMED supported project proposals were approved for funding. 12 WestMED supported projects that were awarded funding had involvement of Portugal. More than 78 million worth of investments in the sustainable blue economy. Last year, the WestMED annual event hosted in Portugal in Algarve, Hackathon, provided a platform for public administration, civil society, researchers, and the private sector to come together and discuss how we can ensure that blue economy activities are innovative, job-creating, and sustainable. This hackathon represented a concrete step toward the goal of bringing together the West Mediterranean stakeholders to work on projects and partnerships that will drive the sustainable blue economy forward in the Sea Basin. And to finish, and before giving you the floor, today's webinar will provide a dynamic platform to showcase concrete projects and technologies, advancing marine ecosystem restoration, pollution reduction, and coastal resilience across European sea basins. It will promote exchange and discussion between key stakeholders from policy, industry, and research. We must and we will all work together, always. Thank you, Lorella. Thank you.
Thank you very much for opening today's discussion and outlining the critical role of Sea Basin Strategies in aligning efforts across the region to boost this blue economy. Now, moving very fast to our first thematic session, enabling innovation, BlueInvest as a catalyst. This session will be moderated by Mr. Gonzalo Santos, Internationalization Coordinator at ForumOceano. Thank you, Gonzalo. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Lorella, and good morning to everybody. I think everybody knows that BlueInvest is considered by the European Commission to be one of the flagship initiatives to support entrepreneurs, innovative projects, and startups. For this reason, we thought it will be useful to present the BlueInvest project in this webinar, and for that, we will bring Daniela Sedola, partner at PwC Luxembourg, who will present BlueInvest services and upcoming opportunities, and also, I believe, the BlueInvest community. Matteo Bocci from Ecoris, responsible for the Sea Basins Assistance Mechanism. I think Matteo will talk about the relevance of private investments for sustainable blue economy across sea basins. And we will also bring Maria Cristina Nunes. She's invited auxiliary researcher at Instituto de Agronomia of Lisbon University, and she's also coordinator of Hume Algae Project. We will also bring João Cotter, CEO of Aquaponics, which is a Portuguese company supported by BlueInvest. João is a marine biologist agri-food specialist and entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience in sustainable aquaculture and circular food systems. He's co-founder and CEO of Iberia, driving innovation in urban farming through integrated aquaponic solutions. So, without without taking more time, I hope the discussion will be interesting for everyone. I will start by giving the floor to Daniela. Good morning, Daniela.
Good morning, Gonzalo, Lorela, Ruben, and all the other colleagues present here. So my pleasure to be here with you today. And obviously, we're very familiar with the Atlantic strategy as well, and as part of the BlueInvest as well. So I prepared a presentation that's a little bit beyond BlueInvest to talk a little bit more about trends and opportunities in the blue economy as we see through the experience of BlueInvest. And then we can take from there. So I know I have 15 minutes, right, for this presentation. So I'll try to be concise. I'm gonna just present my slide here so you can take a look. Tell me if you can see the screen. Yeah, can you see it?
Yes, perfectly, Daniela.
Okay,
But,
it's
but
not in presentation.
It's a small, it's in a small screen.
Yeah, so let me just try do something else for the big screen. So 1 second, because we had no time to, if I do this now, wait a second, this, and then I'm gonna, wait a second. Can you see the full screen now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, you have everything, right? Okay, great.
Yes.
So blue economy trends and opportunities. You know, we have been implementing BlueInvest since 2019. This is an initiative of the European Commission to support, I'm going to go back here, otherwise you'll be reading, to support investment readiness of startups, innovators in the blue economy, in the sustainable blue economy. So this has been running since 2019. And it involves the platform, a community platform where everybody that's linked to innovation investment in the blue economy is part of it. And then a lot of technical assistance, not only for startups in terms of acceleration, improving their investment readiness and so on, but also for fund managers as well. So we do have a big technical assistance for the fund managers in terms of opportunities in the what are the sectors, what are the fund situation, and also how the funds could be developing faster. And we publish every couple of years a report on investment in the blue economy. So we published one 2 years ago, then we had a refresh last year, and we are now refreshing this report as well. And the nice thing that we have to report is that the emergence and the growth of the number of funds actually targeting the blue economy. So this is really, really good news for the sector, for the innovation aspect of our sector, because there are more funds, available for startups. There are a lot of funds, about 100 that we, actually really focus on green and blue, but then you have about 30, 40 funds that are just blue funds, and this is really, really nice because these are new funds as well coming up exclusively to finance blue economy. Obviously, the European Commission has financed the creation of a fund, the BlueInvest fund, that was deployed by the EIF to a few fund managers in Europe. And now we have more the InvestEU package, funding that's available for investors as well. So if I go a little bit on how the blue economy shapes our economies, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because Ruben had a great overview as well on the blue economy, the value of the blue economy as well, and also for the director as well from the department as well mentioned that. But the point is that here, ocean is a big economic powerhouse for the whole of Europe. We have more ocean borders in Europe than land, so this is extremely relevant for the continent. And there are a lot of people employed, 3.6 million people employed in the blue economy. The sector is, always been quite, let's say, important in most countries' economies. The, economy of the sea is something not discovered today, obviously. But there are a lot of sectors that are maturing and getting a lot of interest from investments because there is a guaranteed return. Okay, in particular, for instance, when you talk about ocean energy, this is highly funded, is a sector that there is no doubt anymore about the importance and the low risk of financing that, because the energy demand is growing. People don't want to have the offshore, they don't want to have the winds in the land, so this goes in the ocean. There is always somebody to buy that electricity, so it's a great market, for example. So, but this is just one highlight. But what I want to show here is on this next slide, and this is coming from BlueInvest, where we map, and these are the sectors of the sustainable blue economy that we support with the call and so on, but we covered this. There are other areas of the economy, which, for example, are more like extraction activities or offshore oil and so on, that are not supported by BlueInvest because they're not sustainable necessarily. But we do indeed work with startups, innovators, and funds targeting all these sectors here that the 10 sectors here that we mentioned. So aquaculture obviously is a key sector, extremely well funded as well. Blue biotechnology, blue renewable energy, as I mentioned, great potential as well. Coastal and environmental protection and regeneration, which very much into climate adaptation as well. Maritime tourism, fisheries, low technology observation, which has a big link also with defense. And then shipping and ports, pollution, water management, and shipbuilding and refit. What is interesting to think as well is that if you look at shipping areas, shipping and ship rebuilding and refit and so on, we're looking at the technologies, and investors are looking into that as well, that help to optimize shipping, decarbonize the fleets, reduce consumption of fuels, and make the ports more efficient as well, for example. Ports is also a big area of investment, and it's difficult to always derive what is exactly investment from a blue fund into ports, or what is an investment coming from infrastructure fund into ports, because ports is a big element of infrastructure as well in the European Union, right? So there are a lot of overlaps between also what's blue, what is more infrastructure, what is green and goes into blue as well. But it's normal, it's fine, investors will look at different angles, for an opportunity to invest. But what is important is to see, okay, we do have a strong sector that can be supported. So if I go on the next slide and talk about the growth drivers in the blue economy. So I think everybody here in this webinar is pretty much an expert, but obviously we wanted to cover a little bit based on research we have. We did with funds, to see, okay, what are the areas you are looking to invest in as well. And we also look at the pipeline of companies that we have mapped in BlueInvest. So we have a pipeline of about 1,000 companies and projects and startups, and they normally cover the 10 sectors that I mentioned before. But if we look at the growth drivers, and here, why am I saying this? It's important to inform if you are a startup in this sector, you understand there are a lot of opportunities. If you are a fund, these areas where there will be offer and interest investments. And obviously, if you are in the policy, in the more strategy, if you are in the public sector, these are also areas to incentivize and support, because they are growth drivers for the blue economy, and they will bring results as well to generate growth, jobs, prosperity, and economic development. So blue energy, blue renewable energy is key, because we have the net zero targets for 2050. It has shifted. We had targets for 2030. We're not going to meet them. The targets are 250 now. So, but this is key through expansion of marine renewable energy. There is a high demand. EU is quite a leader in that. It can cover more than twice the current global demand for electricity. As we know, if we follow what's happening in AI, the consumption of energy is going to grow exponentially. So here we really need to have solutions in energy, and blue renewable is one of them. Ocean technology is an area is extremely broad. Okay, there are many things that are related to the shipping area, the shipping industry, the fishing, infrastructure monitoring, and also you can monitor where the fish stock is, you can monitor the shipping routes and optimize them. And then you have the defense, the dual use related applications. That's a super important area as well. That's obviously Europe has a lot to invest right now. As you know, all countries are increasing their GDP share of investment in defense, and the blue economy has a key role to play in terms of observation, in terms of monitoring the infrastructure, the ports, the subsea cables, that you saw they were attacked at some point, So there is a lot of technology coming into the sector. It's a very important area for investors, not only for those blue sustainable or impact investors, but also for the dual use and the more technology investors as well. So it's an area that's extremely important, and it needs to be, obviously Europe has this whole agenda to increase our competitiveness, our sovereignty, our security. So here there is a lot of funding available, and I'm going to talk on the next slide a little bit on support programs for companies, for startups and innovators, not only small companies, but they are investing in ocean technology. So super important area, growth driver. Aquaculture is the fastest growing food production sector globally. As the population grows, people need more protein, life kind of standards change, and lifestyle changes as well. So absolutely, aquaculture is a key driver. Portugal is quite a leader in that area as well, not to mention other Norway as well, and so on. But the rise of sustainable aquaculture is very key, and there are the investors, a lot of investors, they will invest in aquaculture as long as there are sustainable practices. And there's a lot of new technology as well going into increasing sustainability of aquaculture, in particular in blue biotech. You have enzymes that will clean the waste produced by aquaculture, for example, just to mention one example, or to take care of the health of the fish and so on. But also aquaculture is very close connected to blue biotech, which then drives developments, raw materials for healthcare, for other agriculture, biofuels and so on. So extremely broad area, extremely important in terms of volume and also as a good driver. Shipping and ports, I mentioned a little bit earlier, is very important in terms of infrastructure, strategic infrastructure for the European Union as well, not only in the sense of defense, but in the sense of economic development. Obviously, the world's trade is all going through ports, and through shipping. Majority of the world's trade is actually happening through shipping as well. So the super important area, very close into infrastructure, a lot of investment. Ports are difficult to, they are strained in terms of margins, in terms of return on investment, but they are strategic sectors that need public funding as well very strongly, and they are vital aspects of our economy. So key area for attention for investors as well to look into. And finally, we have environmental protection and regeneration, very much related also to adaptation to climate change. That's a key topic as well that we have right now happening. We all see the heat waves that are getting worse and worse. The rains are getting worse. There are many things happening that will increase the demand they need for environmental protection, regeneration, so on, cleaning up the oceans, reducing plastic. There's a lot to be done as well here as well. However, here in particular, when you talk about restoration of coastal ecosystems, the business case, is still a bit weak. Okay, and that's not what I'm saying that I subscribe to that, but when you look at the logic of investors, they want to see, okay, if I restore this, what is the return on this investment? So you have carbon credits, you have ESG, elements here, but there is no specific case. Okay, I restored, and how do I monetize this, right? That's the logic of investors. So here is a much broader conversation related to public policies as well, to keep biodiversity, to keep also cities protected and so on. So here's a broader area, but it's also a driver. So here are just highlighting this sector sectors here to say these are very much the target of investors, the target of BlueInvest, and the target of innovators. You know, many companies are rising in this area and growing and becoming more mature as well. What I wanted to mention here, this I mentioned a lot in particular to startups and to companies, but also is important for anybody that is a stakeholder in the ecosystem to understand some public funding coming at EU level. I'm not covering obviously local funding, you know, the national promotional banks in Portugal, in many countries, they obviously have a program as well, funding to that. So I didn't cover that because we have all the countries covered in BlueInvest. But if you look at the European level, you know, these are typically the support programs and funds that will be relevant for companies in the blue economy. Okay, so you start with the innovation funds that, you know, and if you look at them, Innovation Fund InvestEU is higher TRL, RRF as well, and Connecting Europe Facility higher TRL, and then you have the more early stage as well, which, so both are important. Later, funding is, we have a big gap. In fact, you know, so when a company has TRL 7, 8, 9, and then they start, you know, they had the first grants and so on, and then, okay, I need to get scale up capital, and that's where it becomes more difficult as well. Okay, so here is still a little bit earlier, even TRL 7, but it's part of more towards scale up funding. So we have Innovation Fund, which is very strong, is a fund for innovation, but is very strongly linked to infrastructure as well. So anyone working in shipping, anyone working ports and so on, for example, even aspects of aquaculture, they are good candidates here. And then you have the InvestEU fund, which is much more related to equity investments. So here is more fund of funds. Normally, they will invest in VCs, in private equity sometimes, and then these VCs, these intermediaries, will then fund the companies. Okay. Then you have direct funding for startups and SMEs coming from the Horizon Europe program. So these are grants for early stage, TRL 4 to 6, the grants up to 2 million. And you have also the EIC grants, you know, they're very, you know, it's a bit of an overlap with the Horizon as well. The EIC Transition and Pathfinder, these are very important funds for research, for early stage technology and innovation. So they really focus on deep tech, and there is a lot of ocean technology that is deep tech, in fact. So it's an important area for us. Then you have the EIC Accelerator as well, which is more a little bit later stage. And you have the EIC Equity as well, which then a little bit later stage as well, which is highly competitive. One of the points here, though, is that to apply, the company has to have also a co-investor as well. So could be a public investor as well, but they need to bring two sources of investment. Here's what we did a project with them called Blue Champions for the EIB. Maybe some of you heard of it. So the Blue Champions was a selection of really excellent startups and scale-ups that would then be promoted by the EIB to get a venture debt funding, which is a convertible loan type of funding. So, you know, you can get as a loan, but then you can pay the loan, either you pay it, whether the company is more giving revenues, or can convert into equity as well into the company. So it's a risk mechanism, very interesting, and it's growing, but you see it's for above 15 million. And then you have the other two that I mentioned earlier, so for investments, for commercialization and growth.
You have 3 more minutes.
That's fine. I'm on the last slide,
perfect.
so
thank you.
Perfectly in time. Thank you. So what we did here is just to close and give my final message here is that we look at when startups find funding. Okay, we look at where have you been successful in raising funds? Okay, so we interviewed 34 scale-ups in blue economy, obviously, across Europe, to understand, where is the funding coming for you? And you could see that obviously public funding is still extremely important, right? So the grants, the national funds, you know, the national development banks, funding, EU funding, and so on. So 76%, when they were successful, it was through public funds. sorry, I'm confusing. 59% received the public funding, but 76% on scale-ups also received private funding, okay? So the message here is to say, well, you can go for private, if you are a startup, and if you are here in the call supporting a startup to access funding, try to go to seed to VCs as well, because they are getting it, especially when they are scale up, they pass the grant phase as well. Obviously, public funding is still super important, I was saying earlier, and then we have roughly 60% receiving public funding, depends on the stage as well, and it's cumulative, right? So the numbers here could be you receive public funding, and then next phase received also private, okay? Public grants are essential, so this is not, nobody's claiming or pushing for reducing the grants, but is a current discussion we always have in BlueInvest is people want also to get away from grants. They want to go to another level of maturity, scale these companies up, and actually get access to the private funding. So is the equation we are here, right? Some countries we know, we look at many aspects of innovation sectors, and there are countries where pretty much everybody is based on grants and very little private capital. Blue economy is more successful, okay, it's not a super grant only type of sector because you have big sectors, energy, shipping, high technology, and so on, ports. So this we need to take into consideration. If you are looking at very innovative sectors, perhaps grants is still going to be the only way. So pretty essential. And the other point is the importance of the corporates and the industrial players, the corporate VCs, the big corporates, they should, they're super important. They should be mobilized by everybody working the blue economy as part of the ecosystem and supporting the development of the sector. So I think a key aspect here is how to mobilize also the corporates, because they can invest in startups, they can practice open innovation, meaning onboarding these companies into their own businesses. And obviously they are a big client for a startup, for a scale up, to actually get more market traction, start selling, and have somebody to buy their products. So I think it's key for us working in the sector, in the ecosystem, to mobilize much more the corporate side and industry side of the funding that we have available, because the public is covered pretty much. The VC is growing. So we see a lot of activity, and then corporates need to be more involved as well. So that's what I wanted to say to you. If you Google BlueInvest, that's normally is the first result on Google. So it's easy to find, if not somebody is looking okay, where do I find BlueInvest? You can just go put BlueInvest. You can put the BlueInvest European Commission, something like that. You have the first result, first hit. So I think that's it from me. If there are questions, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Danielle. I believe your presentation will raise some questions that we can address at the end, if we have time for a short Q&A. So I leave the floor now to Matteo Bocci. Please, Matteo.
Yeah, thank you, Gonzalo. Thank you all, Lorella, and all. Thanks, Daniela, for the great presentation. I think I might, start where you ended and take a slightly different point of view, because I would like to touch upon some evidence that we got on how private investment and are essential to support coastal community to address their challenge by scaling up innovation, but also some of the persistent challenges and difficulties that we see in local innovation ecosystem and the structuring of coastal community financial communities and systems. So first, briefly, well, you already discussed and presented extensively the Sea Basin. Sea Basins are strategies that bring together different actors, ministries and relevant bodies at the different sea basins across Europe. There are currently 4 Sea Basin strategies on top of macro-regional strategies. I'm not entering a lot of details there. And on 3 of those, we are offering an assistance mechanism. The newest one is the Greater North Sea Basin that would have support in terms of assistance mechanism soon. And it's really a platform as were already introduced, for policy dialogue, but also for engaging with stakeholders through the National Hub, through the role also ForumOceano and some other colleagues I see online, in really pushing innovative projects, innovative ideas, and I want to build a little bit on that. Really, we look at matchmaking and bringing in innovative projects, and we've been doing that for a few years now. And of course now, because you rightly, Lorella mentioned the sustainable blue economy and the communication. Of course now the European Ocean Pact steps in, and it's quite interesting because brings a number of priorities, and it's quite interesting also the first priority is really protection and restoring ocean health. And I really appreciate the introduction of Ruben, and how protecting ecosystem is really the foundation for anything that happens at a coastal level, community and business wise. And also there's a strong emerging rhetorics on supporting coastal communities, island and outermost region as well, of course. And I think we try now to fine tune and having a common understanding of what exactly we mean by coastal community, because the whole discussion came out from fisheries. And I think now the idea is really that coastal community are much more diversified than that. There are a number of functional interaction at the coastal level. You mentioned all, port, aquaculture, fisheries, but also ecosystem protection, stakeholder, also in preservation, also ocean literacy. So they're really a very diversified element there. And of course, innovation ecosystems are key to allow for all of those communities to understand how to address through innovation the challenges they face. But I think there's a problem so far here, because there's something that should be addressed more carefully. And I try to provide just a brief overview for discussion. So as said, I mean, we through the assistance mechanism, ForumOceano as well, of course, and other colleagues, we are supported through time a number of strategic projects. I just pick a few, one per sea basin, where we really support the scaling up of solutions, support to innovative SMEs, startups, of course, MedBan in the Western Mediterranean, building on the work promoted by the maritime clusters. So really looking at EU and neighboring countries and supporting local ecosystem to really scale up an innovative solution. That was, of course, built upon the experience of ASBAN in the Atlantic that focuses more, as you all know, focuses more on ports, community, and as a way to really trigger areas for innovation and support a huge number of startups, pilot and innovation challenges across the region, and even in cooperation with global partners of the EU. And then most recently in the Black Sea, we supported the Black Sea Accelerator through some of research and innovation projects in the area, and really they helped identifying and scaling up startups and innovative ideas in the Black Sea, which of course is a problematic sea basin for geopolitical reason, but it's also very active and a very peculiar, specific, rich ecosystem where a lot of innovation is happening. So all of this, we really brought together people, support, discuss with them their needs, particularly local, not even startups really, like a researcher identifying valuable technological solution and willing to move forward. And we think there are some persisting challenges. And I mean, notwithstanding the great work being done by all the partners here, of course, the great work of BlueInvest in scaling up a commercial solution. But again, the viewpoint I want to take is like how local innovation could help local ecosystem and coastal community at the local level, but there's still a financing gap there. That's at least my thesis here. First, we really talk about TRL, and it's great. I think now, even children know about that, which is great, and we scale it up, and there's a lot of innovation there. But the real problem that I've seen and we've seen is when you move from scaling up to technology to supporting investment readiness, and which is the real core challenge issue, and really where we're putting effort, but we should look at that. And of course, in some ways, investment readiness start when technology readiness ends. So you have a product, or at least this is how it happens, because a lot of technology technological products are supported through innovation grant. And so happen that you have a solution and say, okay, what do I do with that? And of course you start with your business modeling, and I mean people do, and we should, and we will, in order for discuss forever of business model canvases, and but the idea is really that there's a essential need for resources and microfinancing really support there, because this is where innovations struggle to become commercial solution, because of course researchers, they don't really understand the business of setting up a business model, understanding market, etc. So, I mean, of course, a lot, again, BlueInvest does. Apologies, this is an old report, but it was interesting from what I wanted to say. Of course, there's a huge number, and I mean, it's fantastic work being done in raising awareness and commitment, as Daniela was saying, across Europe and beyond, of investors of any venture capital of any sort on the blue economy. But I think ticket size it remains an issue from the perspective I'm offering, of course. I mean, not for scaling up commercial champions in Europe, but ticket size remain a challenge if you want to support coastal community, and if you want to scale up a solution that might not have a fantastic input performance, commercial performance, and scalability, at least in the short to mid-term, but might make a lot of difference in a positive manner at the coastal local level. And this is interesting because, yeah, you also saw the tickets in one of your slides, Daniela, and I mean, usually, I mean, even 500K is almost microfinancing when it comes to this type of investment. You typically talk about 1 million up. There are exceptions, but a few, and all the type of investment and financing, let's say, required for those solutions that we support, and there are quite a few across the Sea Basin. It's even under 50K, it's even 200K, and you can find 1 million if you want. I'm exaggerating, but I mean, there's a lot of people willing to give you 1 million, and it's very difficult to find 150K. Which makes it complicated, because of course these might have a super high mortality rate, are all solutions that really need a pilot case, testing case, but with 1 million in microfinancing, you can fund quite a number of solutions, and even if 99% of them fail, 0.1% is still quite a return of that investment. But so this is a little bit the problem. So we're seeing a local level solution with potential, at least to address important challenges for the local ecosystem and local communities that struggle to get 200K or so. Of course, we mentioned also grants, and of course the role of public financing is key. It's difficult because public resources are increasingly scarce, and of course there are political priorities, and also one of the essential tools could be procuring innovation. So public actors like environmental monitoring agencies and stuff like that, they could really use their procurement ability to really support innovation in local ecosystem. And there's a whole literature and experience and manuals on pre-commercial procurement of innovation, where you really push and pull and create this dynamic between local public authorities, public agencies, and the ecosystem in their area. But this is complicated. This is a different type of approach. It might be risky per se for public procurers. They don't know exactly how it is. So it's also stuck. So all those potentials are there, but are not really there. And we see small micro solution provider potentially struggling to find some support. And in a way, I mean, we don't talk anymore, and maybe for the good or the value of that, it wasn't the best appealing metaphor on Earth, maybe. So it's good to give up. But it's not that if we don't acknowledge that, that stop existing. And we really see a persisting dilemma in bringing together supply and demand of technology and innovation for key coastal community challenges, and it's really a pity, because you see both sides, but it's very difficult to find the little money to to bridge them together and try to pilot things, which again might have a high mortality, and maybe it's a matter of like understanding the market and local potentials and working together, public and private, to support local innovation. They might remain local, but will make a lot of difference for local communities. And these, at a very local level, these kind of quadruple challenges persist in a very fragmented world that struggle, try to talk together. Of course, there are brilliant examples of this working. I'm thinking about the KICS, I'm thinking about all sort of value chain, also Ruben was mentioning. But if you look at the local level across Europe, in maybe more remote community area, the relation between public sector, business, the financial sector, at a very coastal level, local level, and coastal communities remain fragmented. So it's almost a call for supporting the creation and strengthening of coastal financial communities that really could interact with local ecosystem, and using public and private local capital money to really support innovation. And also, it's a matter of debunking a bit the private side of investment, because of course you have venture capitalists, of course you have funds and commercial support, but there's a whole area of impact investors, foundation, kind of no-profit financing, which are not strictly public, and again also CSR and corporate investment, which is not necessarily profitable one. That is distracted. I think they're still not seeing these big challenges as big social and ecosystem opportunities rather than primarily financial return opportunities. And so you have a lot of those financing ecosystem that look at social investment, maybe a little bit of green investment, but really the blue economy, the ecosystem challenges are not there, and therefore there's still need to bring those elements and a member of the local financial communities together to really create even like local funds for microfinancing, which doesn't have a primary scaling up commercial profitability model, but more like a scaling up of local social environmental impact results. That eventually, a fraction of that could also become the European champion. But I think that there's still a lack of focus on something which can remain a local champion and can really help addressing key challenges. But that's mainly my message. I don't want to be too depressive. I think there's a lot of potential, that there's a lot of things happening at the coastal area, coastal communities, but we should collectively also refocus the attention on the blue economy, the ecosystem and finance solution, even beyond the financial profitability, for really having a joint public-private partnership that function. But anyway, you can follow us, what we do. We will have awards to celebrate some interesting experiences. We will have toward the end of the year, as you might know, most of you, regional conferences. We're ready to exchange on that, and we try to discuss more and more these need to refocus of local actors in the coastal financial communities to also include their attention for micro investment for ecosystem protection. Thanks a lot. I hope that was interesting, and happy to be challenged, and thanks a lot everyone again.
So thank you very much, Matteo. I think you brought another dimension to the discussion. I think this was really, really interesting. So I will give the floor, without losing much more time, to Maria Cristina Nunes. The floor is yours, Cristina.
Hello, and thank you very much. Good morning to you all, and thank you for inviting us. My name is Cristiana Nunes, and I'd like to say that I'm not the coordinator of this project. Is my colleague, Anabela Raimundo. She's also attending this presentation, but she's in a conference and not able to participate. So I will share my screen. Sorry, just one moment. Okay. Are you seeing my screen, isn't it? Now I think that you can.
Yes, not in presentation mode, but we can see it.
It's not in the presentation mode? Oh, sorry.
No.
Okay. Now it is in the presentation mode.
Yes.
Yes, just 1 minute. Sorry. So now I can, so I'm having a little, but I think I will solve this now. I don't know why I cannot share this in the presentation mode. Sorry. Just one more trying. Oh my God. Okay, so now you are seeing my presentation, isn't it?
Well, we are seeing it, but not in a presentation mode full
Not
screen.
in a presentation mode, so I don't know what is happening, but I cannot share it in the presentation mode. I don't know. Maybe I will proceed like this because I don't know what is happening.
Yes, there's no problem.
Okay, sorry, it's better
You
than
can see
losing
it
more
anyway.
time. Okay, just trying to improve it a little bit. Okay, so I'm Cristiana Nunes, and I'm very pleased to present this project. This is about algae and algae in food. The title is Enzymes for Improved Sensory Quality of Microalgae Ingredients in Foods. This project was supported by the EEA grants in collaboration with DGPM in Portugal, and this project is aligned with the goals of the blue bioeconomy, working with algae by promoting innovative and sustainable uses of microalgae, one of the important marine resources, and these microalgae are considered ingredients for the future, since they can help diversify our food systems with environmental benefits. But this can happen only if we can make them more appealing to the consumers. In fact, at the present moment, only few examples of microalgae-based foods are in the market at an industrial scale, because the main challenge is their strong sensory profile, especially the fishy flavor, and also this intense green color. And these characteristics limit their use in higher concentration and the possibility to incorporating them in industrial food products. Okay, so in this project that finished last year, in the algae project, we explored the enzymatic strategies, as well as fermentation of two food products, bread and cheese, introducing microalgae. But with these two strategies, the enzymes and the fermentation, we try to reduce the negative sensory properties of algae. Our approach, as you can see in this slide, included the enzyme selection carried out by NORSE in Norway, followed by the enzymatic treatment of these microalgae conducted at Instituto Superior Técnico in Portugal, and then here at Instituto Superior de Agronomia, University of Lisbon, we tested the impact of these treated algae in real food systems, as I said before, bread and also cheese products. The microalgae were produced at pilot scale by Norse in Norway, and at industrial scale by a small microalgae company that is Pagaret Microalgae Solutions. The project, as I said before, was supported by the EA grants with DGPM as the program operator. And with this slide, I'd like to show that our collaboration with some of the partners began during the previous project with Norway, the Algae to Future project, but we also had another EEA grant project running in parallel with Pagaret Microalgae Solutions company, which was really important because it was possible for Pagaret Microalgae Solution to invest in a new microalgae factory or facility, and this project was really important for us because we support and was of course really important. The collaborations that we had with all the partners, it was possible to participate, to work in other proposals, and this led to European projects in the field, also in the field of microalgae. There's the Blue Waste project that is running right now with Nofima in Norway as the promoter, and also in September we will start with a new European project, Alliance, promoted by Wageningen University in the Netherlands. And now I would like, let me see if I can show you with these problems, if I can show you, I'd like to show you a short video about this project.
My name is Benedict, and I'm a senior scientist at...
Sorry, oh my God.
My name is Benedict, and I'm a senior scientist at Norse. I'm Carlota Carvalho. I'm associate professor of the Department of Bioengineering of Instituto Superior de
I'm Anabela Raimundo. I'm a teacher here at Instituto Superior de Agronomia, and I'm also coordinator of the Food and Feed Program, that is our research team. The main goal of this project was to improve the sensory profile of microalgae, namely in terms of flavor, the fishy flavor, and color. To do this, we used the enzymes in order to convert unpleasant flavors in other ones with more appealing and more acceptable for the consumers.
In the Algae project, we had two rules as Norse. The first rule was to produce microalgal biomass in the form of paste and powder. And the second rule that we had was to find new enzymes that can be used to get rid of the bad smell of microalgae and the dark green color.
And my job in the project Algae was the development of the bioprocess, allowing the use of enzymes to take the fishy smell out of microalgae and to change the color from green to brown to make it a bit more suitable for consumers.
As a result, we actually managed both. So we found interesting enzymes that do convert dark green color into lighter colors, and enzymes that can be used to get rid of some of the smells.
We incorporated this treated biomass in bread and cheese, and the results were really promising.
Okay, so thank you very much for your attention, and if you have questions, I will be pleased to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Christiana. Now I spelled it right. I had the correct name in my notes, but I spelled it in the wrong way. Sorry. So let's go without losing more time to João Cotter. João, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Gonzalo. Going to share my screen. Hope you can see it. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So it's great to be here today with so many blue bright minds. So let me start by explaining who we are. So Aquaponics Iberia is a pioneering company based in Torres Vedras in Portugal, specializing in sustainable urban farming through our own developed aquaponics technologies, and our mission is to provide fresh, local, and sustainable food using innovative technologies that minimize environmental impact. So our strength lies in a seasoned multidisciplinary team with deep expertise in aquaculture, biology, engineering, and food systems. Together, we've built a solid foundation for innovation, training, and scalable growth in sustainable urban farming. The global food system is under strain from climate change, resource overuse, and long inefficient supply chains. People are losing trust in where their food comes from, while pollution, overfishing, and waste continues to rise. At the same time, consumers want local, healthy, and traceable food. Yet cities still depend on outdated centralized models. That disconnect is exactly where we want to act by rethinking how we grow food within urban areas. To address these challenges, we have developed Fish and Greens. It's a project that provides exactly what people look for: fresh, local, and delicious fish and vegetables, sustainably produced with minimal water and zero synthetic chemicals. So it's a truly healthy food alternative that they can trust. And our vegetarian jade perch is super sustainable, eating only plant-based feed and not dependent on marine resources. So it's also very high in omega-3, and we have secured the only broodstock in Europe. So how do we do this? We combine aquaculture and hydroponics in modular closed-loop systems powered by our proprietary SWIMS technology. SWIMS is a solid waste integrated management system. It converts organic fish waste into nutrients for plants, creating clean water and eliminating the need for synthetic chemicals. The system reduces water use by over 95% and operates with minimal infrastructure, making it scalable and cost efficient. By producing food locally, we cut transport emissions and deliver fresher, healthier produce, all within a fully organic, traceable, and sustainable model. Talking about competitive advantages, let me explain why our technology is different. So the classic aquaponics approach is highly organic and sustainable, but these systems are a bit unstable and hard to scale. Commercial units nowadays solve this by running decoupled systems, separating the aquaculture from the hydroponics component. Productivity and maintenance issues get solved, but they are wasting more water and usually being much less organic. With our technology, with our SWIMS technology, we get the best of both worlds by being an organic, long-term productive and cost-efficient system while saving even more water, increasing food safety, and running on a data-driven and automated technology. The SWIMS AI platform connects all our units into a single smart network, learning in real time from sensors, events, and farmer input. It enables predictive maintenance, optimizes resources, and gets smarter with every new model we implement, creating a self-improving system that scales efficiently. There are currently a few small local aquaponics players in Europe with a growing and open market to be explored, and our technology gives us a great competitive advantage. We promote healthy ecosystems by eliminating waste, reducing overfishing, contributing to positive education, and eliminating negative inputs, but mostly by the incredible way Fish and uses water and reduces carbon emissions. After years of R&D and validating our SWIMS technology across multiple pilots, we've streamlined our systems with automation, ensured compliance, and secured strategic partnerships. And we are now raising funds for our first full-scale multi-modular unit, which is a model designed for easy replication across cities, enabling scalable impact. To turn this into reality, we are raising 6 million euros to fund infrastructure, technology implementation, team expansion and training, and 15 months of OPEX. This is not just an investment in a company, it's an investment in the future of food. And beyond this, the food production, we believe real change begins with education. XR Aqua is our immersive learning project that blends aquaponics with XR technology, engaging students in sustainability, science, and food systems in a whole new way. We install live aquaponics systems in schools and connect them to an interactive XR platform, allowing students to explore and manage their own ecosystem physically and also virtually. Students monitor parameters, test scenarios, and experience how circular food systems work. XR Aqua is already live in public schools, boosting environmental literacy and community involvement through hands-on learning. There are countless ways BlueInvest has supported us over the years. These are just a few I'm highlighting here, from pitching at the first BlueInvest Day in Brussels to receiving coaching through the Readiness Assistance and being listed in the BlueInvest pipeline. Last year, we were featured on Euronews Ocean Program, and this year we exhibited again at BlueInvest Day in Brussels. Most recently, we were selected for the fundraising assistance track, and we are now working closely with investor coaches to close a 6 million round by the end of this year. That's the main goal. BlueInvest has truly been a catalyst, validating our model, opening doors, and positioning us to scale sustainability. Our purpose is, as you see, very strong and ambitious, and we're just starting. Thank you very much. I look forward to your questions.
Well, thank you very much. And I don't know if anyone has questions to the speakers. If not, I can make a question that's maybe Matteo and Daniela can discuss a little bit about this gap on the financing that we see. I think everybody who has been in Monaco in a Blue Sustainable Investment Forum, and one of the concepts that was discussed there was the it's not economic concept, but it's just an expression, but makes sense, which is the patient investment. So as Matteo was saying, plenty of projects that have really impact on the coastal communities take time, and the many of investments in the blue economy take time to make money. So how can we somehow refocus the investment to this kind of projects that take time to make money but are really impactful? I don't know if Matteo, João, or Daniel can speak a little bit about this.
I can maybe give you a word also, because then I would have to jump, apologies, soon into another one. Our life is miserable in these days, but okay, mine maybe yours is beautiful. But no, I mean just a quote pops me into mind. Of it was a different discussion, and out of engaging with social impact funds in Italy, actually in Turin region, and there's this great social fund that they bring together through a foundation. I think it's a São Paulo foundation, and they bring around other type of kind of not-for-profit investments, CSR, and the lady in charge of that, they're quite successful also, in long-term scalability but impact, social impact, and they, we were discussing her main struggle is like telling all the other investors, wait. You know, like, I think you need to have in this ecosystem, of course, you need the big scaling up and the fantastic stuff, and but also people that are able to say, wait, and you know, let's not capitalize now, and you know, let's see where we can go with the impact, and then because otherwise, of course, you know, people mainly, but also companies, which are a group of people in my understanding, get burned, you know, and you also lose your. I mean, you need to have this journey, which is not only profitability, I think, at least for having impact. Then if you want to have profit, then of course you don't care. You make people, you know, people and companies burn, and you move on. But I think like people saying, hold on, let's wait an extra year or something, you know, you need to have those people, and those people, they need, typically they have different incentives than other people that want to maximize the return. So it's also like combining different type of investment and different type of ultimate goals.
Thank you, Matteo. I don't know if Danielle wants to comment on this, and maybe João as entrepreneur. Well, maybe not Danielle, maybe João. Do you want to comment on this?
Yeah, I can just share a bit of my experience as entrepreneur. So this has been a really long journey. So our company was founded early 2017, but we were already working on our project, on our idea already for some years. This project I've just presented, Fish and Dreams, we started working on it at late 2012. So you may see it's 13 years working on a project, and we have presented, as I explained, the first BlueInvest, this same project on 2018 in Brussels, and also raising funding for this first commercial unit. So it's not been easy. We have been working on technology. A part was being funded by public funding, but also by our own reinvesting our own revenues. So we have been progressing a lot. So the project is completely different since the beginning when we started, much more mature. But the answer we keep having from investors or potential investors is that we will surely, it's a beautiful, fantastic project. We are really open to invest it as long as you start the first commercial unit, then we can talk. So at that moment, we have the investment made. We might not need money from VCs or investors. We can more easily access financial institutions like banks. The moment we really need investment is now to implement this first large-scale commercial unit, and that's the kind of partnership we were looking for when we talk with investors. But it's being, I must confess, it's being a bit struggling to address this. But we're not losing hope. We have the support from BlueInvest until I think next March to find the ideal investor or investors that want to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Matteo. I think
Just
Matteo want to add something.
Yeah, very briefly, and thanks a lot, Joao, for that, because I think it's a story that we heard, and perseverance is great, but there's also a little bit of a distortive incentive to the whole system now to shift the risk towards the individual innovators. Because I mean, I've heard that in the end, you know, you as an innovator, you go to the bank and take a loan, waiting for that other refund to come. I'm sure that return rates are not exactly the same, so you take anyway a bit of risk, and I guess you need to give some personal guarantees. So I mean, at the European scale level, this is a little scary, because then there's a risk that, as it is now, we really shift the risk ultimately towards the individual innovators, and this is actually not exactly a great story, I think. But I mean, I think there are ways that we can do but at least we need to acknowledge this problem and see what we can do.
I have here in chat a very interesting comment from Valerie. Valerie, do you want to speak about this comment, or you want me to read it?
Thank you. No, it's fine. And thank you very much for giving me the floor. It was just a thought that came to mind, because when we're talking about investments, of course, people want to invest money in order to have returns. And I understand that we have to be patient and we have to think long term, and I agree with that. And that's why you have investments that are safer and that you invest for long term, and you might only get a return of, say, 4% or 2% even. But so what I'm thinking is, and you know, I really have enjoyed this discussion, and I think a lot like Matteo from my own personal experience working in marine science and sustainable financing. What I would love to see is that governments think more about incentivizing investors, like people like us, because we're all investors probably here in this forum, to put our money towards environmental investing, but then give us some benefits in return. For example, lower taxes on our maybe income, or maybe even have companies invest €1 for every €1 that a salaried employee invests in an environmental program. I mean, I can think of a lot of mechanisms to fuel money towards these coastal community projects that need, say, 100 to 500,000 euros only just to get started. And one of the things too I'm thinking of is digital coins. You know, we haven't talked about that, and I'm going into a little bit of detail here, so I won't take up too much time. But digital coins, the non-fungible tokens, for example, these are things that a lot of people are creating, and for the most part, they're making a lot of money for themselves. But why not have environmental projects that create their own non-fungible tokens and sell them to make more money for investments? So I'll stop there. I could go on with a lot of other ideas, but I'll stop there. Thank you. Thanks for giving me the floor.
Valerie, it was very, very interesting, really, but we don't have time, and it's a pity. Lorella will kill me if we continue this discussion. But anyway, as I told, we'll share the presentations, and everybody that want to place any question to the speakers, we can send it via mail and collect the answers. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'm sorry for being late.
Thank you. Thank you to all the speakers, and also to Gonzalo for steering such an insightful session. Very interesting. We wish to have more time for this, but as Gonzalo said, we will share with all of you the contact of the speakers and the presentations to still to engage further. So now we move to our second thematic session, is titled Healthy Ocean from Policy to Practice. Here we will highlight regional cooperation and more project-based actions tackling challenges like pollution, biodiversity loss, among others. The session will be moderated by the Professor Eduardo Silva, researcher at INSTEC and coordinator of Pillar 4 of the Atlantic Strategy. So, Eduardo, please, the floor is yours. Thank you for your presence. I see you are speaking, but you are mute. Please try again. Let's wait for, no, we cannot hear you. Let's wait for a couple of seconds.
And now, yes.
With an echo. Big echo.
Thank you very much. Sorry for this small technical problem. I go to start quickly with my presentation to avoid any delay. and I go fly in my presentation. I don't go too deep because I don't have time, and I try to recover some time. And I ask can you help me? Can you allow me to share? Because
Yes,
you don't allow me.
Yes, you should be allowed.
But you don't allow me.
Share
You don't allow me to share.
Okay.
My
Okay. Would you like to share your presentation, Professor Eduardo?
yes, but you don't allow me.
Let's see.
Bettina, consegues tu partilhar?
Here we are.
Okay, you have my presentation.
Yes.
Okay, it's a good solution. Can you jump, please? Okay, let me first do a small introduction about the whole of the coordination of this strategic pillar. I want to highlight two important things. This is the characteristics of the healthy oceans and the components of the coastal resilience. Okay, and it's very common knowledge. Is only for summary the main topics in both topics. Okay, please, can you jump? Because if we don't have time. Okay, if you go to the pillars of the healthy ocean, you can see in general all communities or all researchers or all innovators or people from environment or agencies try to classify the characteristics of the ocean health. And this is our main concern. Our main concern is to understand and classify the threats and to try to have a very clear idea about the characteristics of the ocean health. And in the other phase of the problem, we need to understand the movements of for the coastal resilience, and these movements we need to have together with us the local communities, the local researchers, and also a network of these people around the Atlantic coast. But the key message I have we develop in our roadmap is the communities. Without the voice of the communities, it's not possible to have a movement or actions to increase the coastal resilience and increase the ocean healthy. And it's not okay. It's very important also to have a top-down approach. So we go see in the next slides. But the most important thing is people talk together and show the problems, rise the problems, have priorities in the problems to solve to try to solve. Please, Lorella, can you jump? Can you jump, Lorella?
Yes, can you see the next slide?
No. Okay. No. Back, because this is a big jump.
Okay.
Back.
Here.
Yeah. Okay. For these roadmaps work, and we receive a good work coming from Philippe Mombet, the previous coordinator. We need to continuously in this spiral movement. We need to identify the needs, have response, building the new policies, understand the gaps, identify the needs. This is a continuous movement we need to do in all our work in these pillars. I think it's not only in the pillar 4, but in all pillars. We need to continuously work on that. and the rotations or the levels of this rotation go deeper and deeper and deeper, and our work must be more precise, more accuracy, with better response. And this is the work, and this is the responsibility of the pillar coordinator, is to give movement on that. And you go to see in the next presentations, you go to see the work are done in the past and start before our coordination, and some, like the work of Marisa, start with the coordination of Philippe Mombé, and we need to continue to work on that. If you go to the next slide, please. If you go and if you read our proposal from a roadmap, we propose to have activities in the two different opposite movements. One from the bottom up, and building from the base of the pyramid, and we need to work with local communities, and we need to identify the local threats, because it's different in the different parts of the Atlantic coasts. We need to understand the pressures, design the local solutions, incorporate the solutions from different people, not only the fishermen, not only the local authorities, not only the researchers, not only the small medium companies. We need to incorporate the ideas of all stakeholders, and this knowledge allow us to have better solutions. And if you go in opposite movement, we need to please jump, Lorella. If you in opposite movement, we need to have projects to allow us to understand what the local inputs give us, but in simultaneous we need to transmit to the bottom of the community the ideas and the policies coming from Europe, from countries, from local authorities. And we have a step. We propose several steps to go to the end. And linking with this top-down phase, normally the top-down coming with money. Listen to the community, the bottom-up, normally you don't have the money, but we need to, my role is like a priest. I need to convince the people, to discuss, to find solutions, to give the opinion, and in simultaneous we need to have influence in the next phase of the laws and the European policies on that. And these two movements is our proposal for our roadmap. Please, Lorella, you can go to the next slide. Okay, if you can see in the our roadmap, we try to have these 6 efforts, and I suppose Lorella in the end can share the presentation, because with the time we don't have time to go deeper in these phases. But this is the phases allow to play with top-down and bottom-up approach, and in the end, our idea is to put these actions in a white paper to leave our legacy for the next generation, for the next coordinator, and for the next step in this roadmap. Please, Lorella, can you jump? Okay, for finish my presentation. Okay, you go to see. We go to start with the toolkit. In the next presentation, Marisa go to explain the results and the toolkit from litter-free communities, and this is a very important work done in the past and continue now with this team. And we need to continue to organize this type of workshops, or even bigger workshops with a more important, not more important, but a broader a broader and the broader communities like the fishermen and local authorities. I hope in the business to see in Portugal in November to have a big forum, but my thought is also to have similar forums in the other Atlantic countries with our team, and so on. And in the end, and also the results of this cooperation need to be to result in the end in some cross-pillar cooperation. And this is the architecture of this pillar for these 2 years. Not real is not for these 2 years, but 1 year and a half. We have 1 year and a half to implement some of these ideas. And but the most important thing is to listen to what's happening in the field. And for that, we go to jump to the next presentation, please, because it's more important than the architecture of this work. And I ask, please, Marisa, if they jump to the stage and explain what you and your team are doing. Thank you.
Okay, Eduardo. So thank you very much for the introduction, and I will share my screen now. Okay, so can you look at this? Okay, so thank you very much for this great opportunity to present Free Literate project and also the toolkit we have developed in the framework of the project and in a strong collaboration with Pillar 4. So just a few words. I am Marisa Fernandez from CETMAR, and I am the coordinator of Free Literate project. So Free Literate project, we didn't start from zero here. So we started building on the outcomes and networks of previous Interreg projects. So we built a Free Literate based on the results of Clean Atlantic project and Indigo project that were addressing different but complementary aspects that were relevant to tackle marine litter and also to foster a circular economy. So building on these results, we created Free Literate project that was eventually approved by the Interreg Atlantic Area Program with the objective to advance on achieving litter-free coastal communities by developing, testing, and implementing innovative approaches for prevention, location, and reduction of marine litter, and with a special emphasis on litter items such as derelict fishing gears and microplastics. So I don't know if there is some sound for another.
Mandei-te por WhatsApp. Tu abres no WhatsApp.
Okay. So the project started by the end of 2023, and we will be working at least until the end of October 2026. And we are 23 partners. We are 14 full partners from the 4 countries that are eligible under the Interreg Atlantic Area Program. We are partners with very complementary capacities and with a long tradition of working together. And it's also worth mentioning that we have an advisory board that is integrated by key competent authorities with responsibilities in implementing key legislation. We also have KIMO that joined local authorities. We have the CRPM, we have NGOs, and very important, we also have OSPAR Commission in the advisory board. So which are our key objectives and working plan? We have one objective very focused on prevention by improving waste management and recycling, and we tried here to facilitate the implementation of key legislation such as single-use plastic and poor reception facility directive, and we have a specific work package dealing with this objective. We have another objective quite wide, and that is addressed to understand the origin, the abundance, and the location of litter. And here we work on identifying sources, pathways, and hotspots. And we have 2 work packages, one for monitoring and data management, and another one for modeling. We are also covering the issue of reducing and removing marine litter with a specific work package. And we have a quite cross-cutting objective that is addressed to promote litter-free local communities by developing pilot actions and awareness-raising activities. So these activities are embedded in the 4 work packages with a very technical nature. And of course, we are also activities related with coordination, management, communication, and capitalization. So as a result of this ambitious working plan, we are going to produce more than 54 deliverables and resources as very tangible outcomes in the format of guidelines, manuals, good practices, also life cycle studies, tools, protocols, solutions, and action plans to be implemented by key stakeholders to address all these different aspects that are relevant to tackle marine litter. I mean monitoring and modeling, also sources and hotspot identification, waste management, end-of-life fishing gear recycling, derelict fishing gears mapping and retrieval, fishing for litter, cleanup, and socioeconomic studies. And the philosophy of the project is that with all these outcomes, we are going to develop pilot actions in strong collaboration with key stakeholders, and we will also develop workshops in order to raise awareness and to facilitate knowledge transfer. So from the very beginning, the project had this vocation of producing very tangible outcomes and also of interacting with key initiatives and networks. So we are doing our best to maximize the impact of the project, trying to facilitate the implementation of key legislation, as I already mentioned, but also trying to fit the regional action plan of OSPAR and, of course, the Atlantic Action Plan, and in a strong collaboration with Pillar 4. And, of course, also trying to focus our work on the objectives of the Ocean Mission and Decade and Sustainable Development Goals. So regarding the action plan, so here, making use of the involvement of TEDMAR in the task team of Pillar 4, we identified with the team that there was a great opportunity of collaboration in the framework of Goal 7, the fight against marine pollution, that includes a lot of actions that are very relevant to tackle marine litter. So we thought that it could be a very good idea to join Free Litter Act projects with Pillar 4 efforts in order to create a collaborative framework to engage key projects that were tackling or are going to tackle marine litter and that had delivered or plan to deliver very tangible outcomes that could help coastal communities to prevent and reduce marine litter. So we approached more than 30 European projects, and at the end, we got the engagement of 25 ongoing or recently finalized marine litter European projects. You have the list on the right that agreed on working together for looking for synergies, complementarities, to organize joint activities, and for result clustering. So our first action was the development of a toolkit for litter-free coastal communities, trying to give visibility to the projects and to include references and facilitate the access to selected resources, good practices, manuals, and tools, as well as nice examples of solutions that could help to achieve this concept of free litter communities. So mainly, we try to identify key resources for waste management and recycling, for detection, monitoring, and modeling, cleanup and removal, and also for awareness raising. So eventually, and with the very kind support of the assistance mechanism of the Atlantic Action Plan and with the support of Pillar 4 coordinators, we could produce an online toolkit, an online document with key information about 25 ongoing or recently finalized marine litter European projects. So you have here the link so you can visit it, but I don't have time now to visit it, but I invite everyone to do it, but just a very few words about it. Here you have the index of content. So we have a specific chapter addressed to introduce the context. I mean, Pillar 4 and also the Atlantic Action Plan and Free Litter Act project, and the methodology that was used to deliver these toolkits. We have another chapter, very interesting, compiling key sources of information on projects and resources relevant for marine litter. So here you can have information about online databases, about key documents, about key portals. And we have chapter 3, where you can find the list of all the projects that participated in the initiative. And when you select one of the projects, for each project, you can get general information and a summary of the project, a description of the main project outputs, and what is very important, a sample of up to 5 results with a direct link to the resource. So this means that when you select a specific resource, you get directly, you can get the specific deliverable that was produced by this project. So we do think that this the toolkit, it's a very, very nice exercise to facilitate networking and at the same time to facilitate access to key end users to resources. So our idea now is to continue this work in collaboration with Eduardo, with the coordinators of Pillar 4 and with the task team to continue promoting networking interactions. We do think that there is a lot of potential of clustering results from different projects to maximize the impact. So the idea is coupling this work with the roadmap that Eduardo presented, trying to achieve the best use of existing knowledge and research on as a result of networking. So I think that's all from my side. So I invite everyone to visit the project website and the toolkit, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Marisa. Sorry, we don't have time for questions. The people know very well each other, and you can do by email. I go to jump quickly to Marisa Almeida to bring us the NetTag Plus, another project related to the marine litter and more things. Please, Marisa.
Hi. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to try to share, see if I can. Can you see my screen?
I see your screen, yes, is good. Please go.
Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Don't forget to try to stretch a little your presentation.
Don't forget to. Okay, I missed you, Eduardo. Okay, so thank you for the invitation. I'm here to present NetTag Plus project, where we are working with the fisher communities, with the fisher industry, in order to prevent, avoid, and mitigate the impact of marine litter. This is a project related with the European Mission Ocean and Water, and it's coordinated by us, but we have partners from 7 different countries. This is a continuation of the NetTag project, which focus on the Atlantic coast, and now we expanded to the Mediterranean coast. And what are we doing here is, in fact, to create synergy activities between the fisher industry, scientists, NGOs, and everybody involved in preventing or avoiding marine litter or mitigating its harmful impacts. So the idea here is to work directly with this sector on this problematic topic of the marine litter. We have the community, the fisher community with us. So among the partners, we have fisher associations, because the idea here is to work with all key players and get them involved. When we talk about marine litter, we know for now that 80% of this litter that we find in our ocean comes from land activities, of course, and then there's 20% that comes from maritime activities, not only from fishery, but also from transportation. And what we want here is to work with a key player, which is the fishers, to show that they are not the main producers of marine litter, and they are actively engaged in preventing it, in avoiding it, because they are also directly impacted by it. So we have 3 lines. We work with the fishers with this key that the fishers are gardeners and cleaners of the ocean. So we are working with them in creating a series of education and awareness materials and workshops, providing them to the Fisher Association. But the key here is not that it's us, the coordinators or the partners or the scientific partners that are giving these workshops. We are working with them, we are preparing all the materials, we are adapting it to the different realities that we have, and it's fishers to fishers. So it's the Fisher Association that organize, and it's the fishers that give this information to fishers, talking their language and adapting it. And also with all of this information, we are creating a booklet that fishers will bring to their boats, where they can fastly consult what is marine litter, what it's not, what they should do with it. And something that we also do with this, by involving also the port authorities here, is to see how the reception of this litter can be made, because the fishers, well, they produce litter while doing their activities, but they also collect a lot of litter on their nets. So they need to bring it on shore and what to do with that litter. So the port facilities need to receive that litter and treat that litter. And also we are working with the fishers on a fishers reward program. So looking for ways to incentivize this retrieval, but also this management of marine litter that's passively collected by the fishing gears during a fishing day activity. Another solution is a very technological one, where we are trying to avoid ghost gears, so the loss of gears. So one of the items that we find in marine litter is lost gears, and the idea here is to work with fishers so that the gears don't get lost. So once using them, fishers lost some gears due to, for instance, weather conditions, and the idea here is to have these acoustic tags in the fishing nets. And if the fisher loses it, he can activate it, because it's a silent tag, and then he can activate it and precisely know where the gear is and go there and retrieve it. And this is done also with the colleagues from Inestec, actually with Eduardo's team, where we have also a robotic system that helps collect these gears, the Irish. And we are doing this with the fishers. The fishers are going to the field and they are telling us, look, the tag doesn't work in this place. We need more tags on this net. We need to adapt the solution. Also, the robot needs to have cameras or so that we can see the bottom where the gear is trapped. So all of this is being made with the fishers. And also we have another solution, another pillar of this project is the mitigate solution. And in this case, we are actually focusing a lot already on the lost gears, already on the ghost gears, on the ILFG gears. And we are developing high resolution acoustic image to really know where they are, to survey hotspots where they are, and go there and collect them. Go there with fishers, go there with authorities, with NGOs, and the idea so it's to have this imaging process that let us know where they are, and then have these robotic systems to go there and help collect the gears. All of this, we are also assessing the potential of the gear itself as an environmental hazard, because the gears are made of plastics. They can absorb a lot of chemical contaminants. They can also absorb biological contaminants. They can release microplastics. So all of this shows that we actually can, if we lose gears, we cannot leave them there. We need to collect them. And so we are working until now. This is our outputs that we have provided so far. We are also doing the cost-benefit analysis of our three solutions, and we are also preparing some video games and didactic units to work towards the citizen awareness on this, and also the policymakers on not only on the problematic of marine litters that I think everybody already knows, but on these solutions and how we can implement it, and how important it is to have the industry with us, the fishers with us, the fisher industry with the local problems that they face and that we can adapt. And so this is the message I want to leave. Works directly with the fishing industry to prevent and eliminate pollution from the ocean, tackling marine litter specifically, but having everybody on board. And thank you.
Thank you, Marisa, for your quick presentation. I pass the word to Alexandro to give us the global view about the Blue Mission project. Please, Alessandro, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Eduardo. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very well.
Okay, perfect. I will just share my screen. Can you see my screen, right? Okay, perfect. So as Eduardo said, good morning, everyone. First of all, my name is Alessandro Colombo, and I'm a project manager at the Atlantic International Research Center. And also I am a team member of the Blue Mission EA project. For the sake of time, I will try to keep my presentation quickly. And I'm honored to present some insight about this initiative, and particularly about the extent to which the project is fostering a more resilient ocean ecosystem. And so Blue Mission EA, I just go to my next slide. Yeah, Blue Mission EA is a collaborative effort between research institutions, policymakers, and stakeholders which are involved in sustainable ocean management. And it's coordinate the implementation of the mission ocean and waters in the Atlantic and Arctic basins, focusing on preservation and restoration of marine coastal ecosystem biodiversity. So it is a coordinator and support action which is funded by Horizon Europe, started back in 2022 and will end shortly in October of this year. And is a coordination hub which is composed of a consortium of around 15 organizations, and as I said, is framing in the EU mission Restore Our Ocean and Waters by 2030. So in particular, we are trying with this initiative to address the mission ambition 2030 target of protecting 30% of the UC areas through marine protected areas and restoring 30% of free-flowing rivers. And so as coordination hub, Blue Mission is managing, just for you to give a quick overview, is managing the Atlantic and Arctic lighthouse. There are other three lighthouses which are focused on the Baltic, one in the Baltic and North Sea, the other one in the Danube Black Sea, and finally in the Mediterranean. So basically, these lighthouses are site to test and demonstrate and deploy activities, ideas, and solutions across the UCs and a river basin, and through also engaging local businesses and communities. So in particular, Blue Mission A brings together multiple projects which are all aimed at protecting, restoring marine ecosystem biodiversity in this region, and there are currently 31 ongoing projects across various funding programs in the Atlantic and Arctic basin. This project covers restoration, ecosystem-based management, governance and blue economy, as well as citizen and science and stakeholder engagement. And together they support around 19 demonstration sites, and let's say that these efforts are further amplified by 17 associated regions. Under the umbrella of Blue Mission AA, we have 4 flagship projects. which are Agora, Climate Rest Coast, and Ocean Citizen. So just to mention that the Blue Mission AEA three main outcomes. The first is to create, and I would say one of the most relevant one, is to create a governance framework for the Atlantic and Arctic basins. Second, to implement a basin scale innovation pipeline ecosystem consisting of a repository solution, which is named called wavelinks.eu, which is basically a platform, and I will speak a bit in details in the next slide, and that with as main aim to attract investors, funders and donors and business and entrepreneurs, while also providing technical and support services. And the third and last main outcome is to active citizen engagement, so reach all the relevant stakeholders in the Atlantic and Arctic Sea Basin and beyond. The projects also through webinar resources in order to foster the project legacy. Example of these are the weekly hours and the networking Fridays, but also the joint event that we have organized with other projects and CSAs, such as in the case of Prep for Blue, but also place-based initiative with Citizen. You can see some photo here, as well as high-level meeting on the other side, let's say, of the top of the governance level with the EU at the EU level. For example, workshop on KPI harmonization that we have organized during the EU Ocean Days. Just a quick, I just want to highlight that the weekly hours that are basically webinars that we change to showcase and spread the work that are developing under development by Horizon Europe funded project in the Atlantic and Arctic region. I think that I have more 3 or 4 minutes, I think. So the Blue Mission, I just want to recall that the Blue Mission is based on three fold framework, and in particularly on 3 pillars: the governance and monitoring one, innovation and market, and as well as citizen engagement, capacity building, and networking. So on the first one, I think that we have been able to mobilize stakeholders, identify key drivers and barriers to reach effective governance framework, and these efforts led us to increase pledges to the mission charter, so contributing to so far to 18 pledges for the Atlantic and Arctic Basin. But we have also with our CSA support several mission ocean funded project in this basin, and we have selected 6 case studies focusing on different restoration approaches. So from the Aigati Svalbard to the Madeira Archipelago, for example, and this study serves as, let's say, a blueprint for scalable solutions across various environments. We have also organized and participated in major international initiatives and project meetings, such as, for example, the UN Decade conferences. And in collaboration with Prep for Blue, we have developed, and Blue Mission banners, we have launched the Wavelinks, which basically is a repository of solutions from around 6,000 projects, over 14,000 institutions, and nearly 1,000 science and science initiative. And part of the Wavelinks is the catalog of services, which showcasing solution for restoration, biodiversity protection, and the economy transformation. And just also relevant to note that we have also worked on advancing regional innovation through recommendation for smart specialization strategies in the Atlantic and Arctic. These were politically endorsed at the Conference of Peripheral Maritime Regions, General Assembly back in 2024. On citizen engagement, I have already mentioned some of the work that we have done, especially through the weekly hour that reached several YouTube views, but we have also developed an educational campaign, including deploying an educational booklet. And finally, we have also worked a lot on communication dissemination and exploitation activities through the Mission AEA newsletter. So I'm trying to finish. I think that I can use 1 more minute. I just want to also to underline, let's say, well, the underlying assumption, let's say, structure of the project, which basically starts from mapping investment. So that basically has to do with the innovation pipeline, trying to move from testing innovation towards the mainstream. Okay, so starting from mapping initiative and project, and then moving from developing a catalog of solution from innovation research actions, so from our flagship project, but also from other projects such as Protect and Paros, and so using the wavelengths as platform, and then towards exploiting the solution on ecological restoration within innovation ecosystem. In this framework, for example, Blue Emission EA has organized matchmaking events and paving the way for the application and the scaling up. And for example, we will start at our center a new project, which is Blue Action EA. I will just spend 2 more words in 1 minute on that project. That will start in September of this year. So just for you to know that the main tool supporting, as I say, this process is Wavelink, that basically is an open source web platform where you can find several projects and innovative solutions. And so we use that to also to track restoration project as part of our monitoring strategy. And we also have, with the charter signatories, we have included regions, cities, and ports. We also have mobilized, let's say, national, regional, and private funding to drive our mission forward. So now the point is we are at the stage that we are trying to move from pilot to top scaling, and so to make sure that the solution are not just tested, but also are implemented at the scale, and so to maximize impact. We also have with the mission AA also had an help desk, so where you can find access to project banks of resourcing, and also some support from our expert. One of these, Valerie, is connected with us today. And finally, I just want to remind to invite all of you to sign the mission charter that you can find at the bottom up of Blue Mission A newsletter, and also to let's say to announce the launch of the Blue Action AA, which is a new project, as I was mentioning, which will be focused on community-led action, providing cascade funding to 20 public authorities, as well as a 5 transition agenda that will begin in 2026. So that's it from my side. I think that I try to stay more or less in the time perspective. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for your effort to squeeze the presentation. And I go to jump quickly to the Pedro to returns again to the field work with in coastal resilience, monitoring the coastal erosion. And please, Pedro, take the lead.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for being present. I will move straight on. So I'm representing Pixer. We are a startup from the west region of Portugal. And for the past 5 years, we had two projects with the HE Grants Portugal. The first one was the Simshore project. Was a project to estimate the withdrawal bathymetry using drones for that purpose. And then we have a second project, which is the one I'm going to present here, which is CIMEC, the Coastal Erosion Monitoring System. I would suggest a small video. I hope you all can see it. It's a trailer, it's a presentation. It's much better than me speaking about the project. So I'll move to share this video with you. Let me know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll pull back and now I will launch it for you. Okay, so back to you now. I hope you all could see the video. During 2 years, we went to 7 locations in contact with the civil protection authorities for each municipality, which are the 7 municipalities of the West with littoral coast. And we asked them what was this place, what place they have with great concern about coastal erosion due to anything, due to massive population visiting the place, due to infrastructures, to roads, to buildings. And each one of them told us a specific location. Now, about this location, we don't want to look at all the littoral coast, but we want to go specifically into these places and create a database where we can find the changes. So we are taking advantage of drone technology since we are able to keep the same flight plan from the beginning. So in the first campaign, this was the issue, was to be sure that the flight plan that we have developed was capable of recovering the information of the terrain with the resolution and the georeferentiation that we needed, because we want to compare them over time and create this database. This is creating digitalization. During the project, which was a 2 years project, we managed to make 4 campaigns, and immediately after the first one, we were able to see that, okay, we have the information we need. Now for the second campaign, we want to compare data between first campaign and second campaign and be sure that we find something. Are there changes or not? Do we have enough resolution in order to see the changes or not? And
sorry,
yes.
Sorry, apologies, Mr. Brazil. We cannot see your presentation. Do you want me to share it?
Yes, you can share it. You can share it, or I can share it too.
As you wish. It's up to
I'll do
you.
it. I'll
There's
do
no
it.
problem.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay. Oops. Here we go. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yes, great. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, it's better like this. So these are the 7 municipalities here with the littoral coast from the west intermunicipality. There are 5 more municipalities in the interior, which are these ones here, but we were only concerned with the ones with littoral. So these are the locations, and here you can see these images, which were the generation of the flight plans for each location. And this is the planning for the 4 campaigns that we went in each place, more or less with a time difference of 6 months between campaigns. This is how it looks after the planning of a campaign, the data that was captured, which at the end are pictures, high resolution pictures, and this is the result after we do the modulation, okay? So after with all these pictures, and this is for Alcobaça municipality, probably most of you know this place, which is the north part of São Martinho Bay. And this is the result. This is a 3D model with a resolution of 5 centimeters per pixel. Now, this is what are the outputs of the modulation. I mean, we can have the 3D model, the elevation model, the contour levels model, and after a second treatment with another software, we are able to find, as you can see in this first image, signed with red in this case, which is a volume subtracted. This is a volume that existed, as you can see in this picture, and then you see the blue marks, which is volume that was added. It means that it was subtracted from the cliff and fell down, as you can see here and here. these rocks did not exist in the first campaign, and now they exist. Obviously, there are changes on the environment. Here we see a lot of other rocks that then was covered with sand, but not in this case. In this case, we see clearly that these rocks fell down off the cliff. And we are able to see these changes due to the comparison between two different campaigns. In the previous, it's a short-term event. Now, in this case here, we are watching a different scenario, which is a long-term event. This is a comparison between a campaign in 2022 and a campaign in 2025 over the same place. And here the results are much different because we can see all of these blue areas, which are volumes that are subtracted of the cliff. And now we can see all these red areas on the bottom part of the cliff, which are the deposit at the end. So what the project was also, just to complement with these images, the project was then complemented with news on the television due to the partnership with NORCE and with the DGPM and EE grants, obviously. And here are just the delivery of the plates of the project with all the civil protection authorities for each municipality. And for the presentation, that's it. So the stage now, what we are now doing is that we managed to have the intermunicipality of the West to keep on with the acquisition of data for these places, these 7 places, but the municipalities are asking now for more places. That's the case in Torres Vedras, in Lourinhã, as there are a lot of cultural, architectural, and heritage nearby the coast that need to be monitored. We are implementing this system on the west region of Portugal. As I said, we don't want to be competitors with any other systems that are in the country, especially with program COSMO from APA. We want to complement it, not compete with it, but we want definitely to put a tool in the hands of the presidents, the civil protection authorities, because at the end they feel not protected within these problems of the coastal erosion. When something happens, they feel scared because they don't feel any control of the situation. They just are displaying some plates here and there, but they don't have any idea. The conclusions that we are coming up with CIMEC project and with all these observations that we are doing and the repetitivity of the observations is that there are 3 major things. It's the number of occurrences, the number of events that happen in a certain area. Then the danger of it. How high is the event? Is it a slow altitude event? It's just a rock within 1 meter high that fell down? Or is it a rock with only 1 kilogram that came from a cliff with 80 meters height? Okay, this danger index is very important. And then with a sufficient big database where we can compare the first one with the very last one that we have, we will see a lot of differences. And now we can classify all this information and get to some index, to some number. Tell a president, look, if things keep on going this way, within 10 years, you will have a loss of 3 or 4 meters of your territory into the sea. Okay, but for this, I mean, when we speak about coastal erosion, most of the people tend to, how much are we losing? Yes, we are able to quantify this, but we need time. Okay, there is a time and a sufficient coherent database so that we can compare things over the time. What else can I say? I think it's about, I heard a lot of things about financing. Yes, we desperately need financing. We need policymakers to be sensitive to these questions. Most of the time, I don't think they believe the technology, which is one of the big issues that we are facing, is that we show cover things, we show 3D models, we show drones, we show a lot of things, but this is not enough. At the end, a policymaker doesn't want all this circus. They want numbers. They need numbers. Policy making depends on numbers. The rest of it is just noise, let's say.
Pedro, thank you very much. We need to jump quickly to the final presentation. We go to Rise in Sky and go to the space. And I suppose Philippe is the name. Philippe, you are here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, sorry, Pedro. I promise all we go to have another meeting with more time to discuss these problems, not only with but the other. Okay, and Philippe, please take the field, take the stage, please.
Okay. Thank you. I'm about to share my presentation. I assume that you can see it already.
Yes, very well. Very well.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, first of all. Thank you all for being here. I'm Filipe Brandão. I'm here to talk a little bit about one of the projects that us at GMV have been working on in the last few years, not only GMV, but also the National Oceanography Center, the University College Cork. I know that my dear colleague and friend Rory Scarrett is in the webinar. He has also been directly involved in this project, which also accounted with the World Ocean Council and also the Space Sur participation. This project was named Blue Economy, Innovation Clusters, Atlantic Natural Resources Management, and Maritime Spatial Planning. Before jumping to the actual presentation of the project, just a quick mention to who we are. GMV, we are a global technology group. We were founded in 1984 with the roots deeply tied to the space sector, but we also operate in other markets like defense, IT, and transportation. We are already over 3,500 employees spread around 12 countries worldwide. So what was this Blue Economy project? This was part of the European Space Agency Atlantic Regional Initiative and aimed at providing insights and solutions in the Blue Economy topic. In the end, our intention and our main goals were to demonstrate how Earth observation can support the aspirations and requirements of EU marine policy. So we leveraged this big topic, Blue Economy, and worked on three main pillars that support it: innovation clusters, Atlantic natural resources management, and maritime spatial planning. So these three pillars frame the development of this project in parallel activities divided into two main groups. The first of all, the Earth observation-based technical developments that aimed at showcasing the added value of working with Earth observation data for the marine environment under different perspectives, which include intertidal topography, marine renewable energies, and marine pollution. And also we developed activities in a second group focused now on leveraging these Earth observation-based activities to engage with a wide pool of relevant maritime stakeholders and understand existing services and gaps that could benefit from the usage of Earth observation data. This activity produced two very relevant reports that have been delivered to the agency, and one of which I will briefly present during this presentation. So adding directly, because time is short, adding directly into the Earth observation-based technical developments. We worked on three services: flood and coastal erosion risk management, GNSS interferometric reflectometry for remote sensing of sea state, this one related to marine renewable energies, and a third one focused on marine pollution detection and monitoring. Given the scope of this webinar, I will quickly introduce the service 1 and 3. And the first one, the flood and coastal erosion risk management, was the result of various discussions that took place between the National Oceanography Center and the Channel Coast Observatory. And in the end, the conclusion was that it would be best to focus on intertidal topography using synthetic aperture radar data processing. The method that was developed by NOC uses freely available synthetic aperture radar data from the ESA Copernicus program. And for this, NOC used a series of SAR images coupled with sea level height information, allowing a temporal waterline processing to produce estimates of topographic height for intertidal areas. This was referred to by NOC as temporal waterline processing. The technique that was developed and implemented during the project outputs composite estimates of heights of intertidal topography heights at a minimum spatial resolution of 6 square meters within defined temporal windows. And for the specific case that was approached during the project, it was concluded that between 3 and 6 months of observation would be the ideal scenario. In terms of marine pollution detection, we also worked in this topic during the project. We focused on two types of pollution, floating macroplastics and marine spills. For the first one, we used Sentinel-2 data, meaning optical data. And you can see in this slide, it was an experiment that we implemented during the presentation with one of our stakeholders in IDEP, which is the Argentinian Fisheries Agency. And what they did was to place floating plastic targets made out of fish boxes. And this target was placed in a synchronous way with the Sentinel-2 observation scenario so that we could test if the algorithm that we at GMV had developed could in fact detect this type of floating macroplastics. The detection was successful, and this detection is illustrated in the figure on the left side. We also focused our attention and developed and implemented a service focused on detection of marine spills, here using SAR data. And you can see in this quick animation one of the main findings that we had during the project, a relevant spill that was detected in the coastal waters near Vigo in Spain. And just to conclude, this is a very quick presentation. I end it with an important reference to the Innovation Cluster's roadmap that has also been produced in the scope of this project. This report contains ideas, novel applications, and innovations that use Earth observation to support maritime markets, communities, and stakeholders and harness maritime potential. It also presents a brief outline of the approach that was used during the duration of the project to make this report with regard to the Innovation Cluster's road mapping and aspects which could be integrated as good practices in other initiatives going forward on the usage and leveraging Earth observation data for the maritime, the blue economy sector. Just to provide you with a better understanding of all the effort that has been put in the development of this report, I leave with some important numbers. We interviewed 30 stakeholders grouped into 22 stakeholder groups. 2 deep dives have been provided also to the European Space Agency, one on innovation clusters and one on OSPAR opportunities. We were able to expand our focus, initial focus of the project to the other side of Atlantic, to Argentina. And we also produced 4 policy briefs that have been delivered to the agency. This was all the result of more than 600 discrete data points extracted from these stakeholders' interviews, more than 1,100 data notes interpreted and analyzed, and 260 recommendations for ESA, 84 of which on how to better connect Earth observation to the maritime realm with innovation clusters. This is a key aspect that the agency is obviously leveraging and using for future projects and future opportunities. All this was done in a traceable, trackable, and transparent way so that the agency can understand where the recommendation came from, what was the context that generated it. And yeah, this was a very important aspect of this project. We also had another report that was produced by the World Ocean Council, but obviously due to the limitations in terms of timing for this presentation, I could not refer to it. But in any case, you can find additional information for instance, in online webinars. And if anyone has more interest in knowing anything about it, please just drop me an email. I'll be happy to clarify whatever may be missing. And with this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eduardo.
I suppose we don't have time for any questions. It's not appropriate. We have a big list of the participants. We have a time to return to this project and share ideas about the field work, taking account the healthy oceans, and for that I pass the word for the close of the session, please. Sorry for don't allow to have questions, but understand it's very late now.
We will facilitate the contacts for all the presenters to engage further, and we want to thank you, Eduardo, and all project presenters for showing us how this vision become action through collaborative innovation. And now for the final remarks, and thank you very much for all the attendees for the extra time being here in this interesting and insightful webinar. I am pleased to pass the floor to Dr. Pedro Gonçalves, Director of Strategy at the Portuguese Director General for Maritime Policy, who will deliver conclusions and highlighting upcoming milestones for final remarks and outlook. Dr. Gonçalves, the floor is yours.
A very short conclusion. Thank you, Lorella. My name, as Lorella said, is Pedro Gonçalves, and I'm the Director of Strategy at the Portuguese Directorate General for Maritime Policy. First of all, I would like to thank all the speakers this morning for the important information they have shared with us and for the excellence of their presentations. And I would like to thank ForumOceano and Investec for their cooperation and involvement in this interesting season and webinar. This event, co-organized by ForumOceano and DGPM in coordination with the Investec team, showed us concrete tools, projects, and investment opportunities advancing blue solutions and ocean resilience across sea basins. I think it is very important. Thank you very much. Well, my task here today is to do a short wrap-up by highlighting the main ideas and key messages of this morning meeting. We are very pleased with the audience to this webinar. I believe we gathered about 50 participants, and this is very interesting figure and shows the growing attention paid to the blue economy topic. During our session, we took 5 key messages. First, strengthen synergies. Through cooperation, coordination, and communication, we are securing regional synergies and addressing more effectively common challenges. And the voice of coastal communities is essential in project design action, as Professor Eduardo said. We must listen to them and evolve them more. Second, the projects and the work being done within the Atlantic and the Mediterranean strategies, of which Portugal is an active player, showcase the strong and committed ocean community throughout all our sea basins. Third, showcase relevant projects and funding possibilities that we saw throughout the presentations, as well as in the opening made by the Secretary General of ForumOceano, Ruben Aires. There are challenges ahead, such as the need to adapt and create innovative funding strategies and to incorporate the experience and effort of local coastal communities. We think that these are challenges, but also opportunities to all of them. Fourth, stimulate new ideas, new opportunities, and new partnerships to achieve new solutions in areas that are as important as they are different, and which were listed in the very complete Daniela Sedola's presentation. And fifth and last, this initiative and on the other initiatives like this one, promoted several times by the ForumOceano, are fundamental to set the grounds for a new and dynamic platform that aims to support our blue and maritime community. To conclude, I would like to point out for two major events that we'll have after this summer. First one, it will happen in September in Brussels and will be the EU Macro-Regional and Sea Basin Strategies Days 2025. A two-day event, 24 and 25 September, that will address topics and challenges of common interest for macro-regional strategies and for sea basin strategies, which includes the Atlantic Strategy and WestMED initiative. It will be a platform for participating member states, pillars coordinators, stakeholders and representatives of the EU institutions to engage in discussions about existing and new synergies with an eye on the bluer future. The second event, it will happen in November in Tunisia. It will be the 5th WestMED Stakeholder Conference and the WestMED Project Awards 2025. The focus will be on the main areas that WestMED initiative actively facilitates and promotes as sustainable aquaculture, green shipping and ports, maritime clusters, maritime spatial planning, sustainable blue tourism, and blue skills / ocean literacy. Finally, in this event, we will have the WestMED Project Awards, showcase and honor outstanding success stories which provide innovative and replicable solutions embodying the WestMED initiative's vision and mission for the Western Mediterranean region. About these events, if you need more information, you have in the last page of the agenda of our webinar of this morning. Laurel, let me finish thanking availability and commitment of speakers of our meeting. A thank you special for Professor Eduardo and Inestec team as well, and a special thank you to our national hub, ForumOceano, for their support organizing this webinar. From Lisbon, I wish you all a great day, and I wish you a good summer break, and thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Director Gonçalves. And with that, we conclude this webinar, Sea Basin Strategies in Action, Innovation Investment for Ocean Resilience. A heartfelt thank you for all the attendees, the moderators, and the speakers for participating and making this event a very rich space for knowledge exchange and future cooperation. Thank you to all. Have a wonderful day and see you. I hope to see you soon in the next Sea Basin event. Thank you to all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.